.org today.
Welcome to World Crisis Radio. This is your host, Webster Tarpley, here in Washington, D.C. And we have a number of big stories to cover for you this week. We're going to get, we hope, another legal update from Phil Berg. We have some interesting news on the publication front, not least of all the continued availability of Surviving the Cataclysm, your guide through the worst financial crisis in human history. Buy it from progressivepress.com or from amazon.com. The general framework for our comments this week is the turn of the tide on Obama. Obama has peaked. Obama has now entered into the inevitable process of cratering, just as we saw with Jimmy Carter, the previous model of the trilateral Wall Street-controlled puppet president. Carter peaked, of course, as I write in Obama the Postmodern Coup, which you can also get from Amazon.com. In Obama the Postmodern Coup, I draw an extensive parallel between Carter and Obama. And this is basically a prediction made last March, February-March, published in April of last year, before the Pennsylvania primary. Carter peaked in April-May of 1977, his first year in office. And sure enough, the trilateral pedigree, the banker-controlled, Wall Street-dictated, hedge fund hyena-favoring policies that Carter had, maybe not hedge funds at that time, but the other parts apply, these things are now dragging Obama down. And Obama has now, I believe, passed the peak of his charismatic, messianic popularity. And it goes fast. It goes fast, of course, because when you want to get a trilateral puppet elected, you've got to be very vague, because you can't say what you're really going to do, and it's probably not advisable to lie diametrically from what you're going to do, although, of course, they do that too. But the best way to do it is to keep it vague. You run on hope and change. You present the tabula rasa, the blank slate, and every chump and sucker and dupe and gull and cretin is able to project onto that blank slate anything that they understand under hope and change. Then you get into office. Larry Summers comes in, Geithner comes in, Volcker comes in, the rest of them come in, Susan Rice, and so forth, and they begin then to fill in the blanks, and of course then people are appalled. So this is the method now that is overtaking Obama. Note well, it is not the beginning of the end, but it is the end of the beginning, the turn of the tide, the possibility of blocking Obama's legislative agenda and inducing gridlock between a bankrupt administration and an equally bankrupt Republican opposition. We can debate which one is more bankrupt intellectually and morally, but both are intellectually and morally insane. Therefore, the best we can get out of this situation is gridlock. Dr. Gridlock is the best ally we have. Block virtually everything. Force an in-depth discussion. What caused the depression? How do you get out of a depression? Can we use these childish slogans like free markets and anti-big government? Is that going to get you out of the depression? The Herbert Hoover Coolidge experience tells us no. Neither, of course, can we rely on the Mussolini fascist corporate state as practiced by Obama. So therefore, a prolonged, protracted debate in the crucible of the Depression to clarify people's ideas about what economic policy ought to be. And certainly as Obama fails, his nostrums will lose popularity. But as these Republican free market demagogues, free market being a slogan used by the Republican Party when it's out of power in order to take power and then begin more corruption, more direct transfers of wealth to their constituencies. This free market demagogy, the Austrian school hokum, this is also discredited because, of course, the Austrian school, with its insistence on an immediate deflationary crash, and therefore liquidate stocks, liquidate bonds, liquidate real estate, liquidate labor, liquidate everybody, liquidate you, but not the rich. That Austrian school stuff, as pronounced famously by Andrew Mellon, the Secretary of the Treasury back in the 1920s, under whom Harding, Coolidge, and Hoover served, that stuff loses its appeal as soon as people are on a breadline, as soon as you're getting unemployment, as soon as your life depends on food stamps, as soon as you need government help to stop a predator from coming in and foreclosing on your house and throwing your family out on the street. All of that Austrian garbage vanishes like dreams at dawn because it goes away. It's a chimera. It goes glimmering into the land of things that never were and never will be. And at that point, in that sober, bleak world of the dawn, maybe there's a chance for a reality-based economics and a reality-based politics, not monetarist, not coming from David Ricardo of the East India Company, by way of the Austrian school, Friedman, Hayek, von Mises, and then the Republicans, be they Herbert Hoover or, better yet, Goldwater, and not Malthusian, not coming from Thomas Malthus, who ran the management training school for the British East India Company. So let's stay away, via Keynes then, into the modern world. Let's stay away from both branches of the British East India Company economic schools. No to monetarism, no to Malthusianism. That would mean the green slime, the gangrene economy of cap and trade and the carbon tax and so forth. And we also want to say preemptively, no to mexophobia, because once all else fails, the ruling elite will attempt to blame wetbacks. They'll attempt to blame penniless, terrified, super-exploited Mexican labor, and they'll say that the fact that some of these people got subprime mortgages was what brought down the entire imperialist banking system. Quite a fantastic story. So this is where we are now. The polling, the stories on a number of news broadcasts this week, towards the middle of the week, we have a poll issued by NBC News and the Wall Street Journal. And they show that Obama, within a period of a month, just about at the same time as Carter, give or take a few weeks, that Obama has gone from 61% approval to 56% approval, and that within a very short time, and that his standing among independents, those fussy independents that we're supposed to be so concerned about, which of course are a voting bloc of some importance, those independents, they've gone down on Obama by about 14 or 15%. So those are serious losses for Obama. Now, the only thing you want to remember then about Carter is that as a general rule, Carter peaked at the end of the 100 days, a little bit beyond the end of the 100 days, say in April, May, and then into June, where we are now. But Carter also then got a big bump. He got a big uptick at the taking of the Iranian hostages, which was connived in by the U.S. intelligence community. Remember the infamous meeting of Zbigniew Brzezinski, Robert Gates, current boss of the Pentagon, with Iranian Prime Minister Bazargan, Foreign Minister Yazdi, people who are Yazdi now back in the news for various reasons. They met in Algiers in November of 1979 and talked about the continuation of U.S. military deliveries to Iran, what later became known as Iran-Contra. And those deliveries never stopped. And the intel word is that in that meeting, the taking of the hostages was connived in and arranged. And that gave Carter an uptick, but then it also gave him a downtick. So watch out now. The door to false flag operations is wide open under the telegenic Obama. We'll be back in a minute.
When